Ever felt like your finances are a puzzle you just can't solve? Well, you're not alone. I've been there, and that's why I'm excited to share this journey with you. In this series, we're going to crack the code of budgeting together, making it simple, fun, and most importantly, effective. Think of this as your friendly guide to building a budget that fits your life perfectly, like your favorite pair of jeans. We're not just talking numbers and spreadsheets. We're diving into real strategies that work for real people. From setting goals that get you pumped, to finding sneaky ways to save more money, we've got it all covered. So are you ready to take control of your finances and make your money work for you? Let's dive in and discover the secrets to a budget that's not just a plan, but a game changer for your financial future. Chapter 1. Determine your financial goals. Have you ever dreamed about what you'd do if you had enough money? Maybe it's that trip to Hawaii you've always wanted, or being debt-free. Setting financial goals isn't just about dreaming, it's about making those dreams a reality. I started by writing down my short-term goals, like saving for a new laptop, and my long-term goals, like buying a house. Did you know that people who write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them? That's a statistic from Dr. Gail Matthews, a psychology professor. It's not just about writing them down, though. Make your goals smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Instead of saying, "I want to save money," I said, "I want to save $1,000 for a vacation in 6 months." See the difference? Chapter 2. Gather financial statements. This part might sound boring, but it's like detective work. You're gathering clues to understand your financial story. I rounded up my bank statements, credit card bills, and even those pesky utility bills. It's crucial to know where your money is coming from and where it's going. Did you know the average American spends nearly $3,000 a year on dining out? That's a lot of pizza and burgers. By looking at my statements, I realized I was part of that statistic. Gathering these documents helped me see the big picture and pinpoint areas where I could cut back. Chapter 3. Record your income. Knowing exactly how much money you make is essential. It's not just your salary. It's any freelance work, dividends, or side hustles. I list down everything in a simple spreadsheet. Did you know that, on average, people have at least 3 income streams? That's what financial advisors often suggest for financial stability. For me, it's my day job, freelance graphic design, and the occasional income from online surveys. Every penny counts, and understanding your total income is the foundation of a solid budget. Chapter 4. List monthly expenses. This is where things get real. Listing your monthly expenses shows you where your money is actually going. It can be eye-opening. For instance, the average American spends over $1,600 a year on clothing. When I did my list, I was shocked to see how much I was spending on things I didn't need. You've got to include everything: rent or mortgage, groceries, transport, even that morning coffee. It's not about cutting out all the fun, but understanding your spending helps you make smarter choices. Maybe brewing coffee at home saves you enough for an extra vacation each year. Chapter 5. Categorize your expenses. You know, categorizing expenses is a bit like organizing your closet. You've got your fixed expenses. These are your jeans and t-shirts. The same cost every month, like rent and insurance. Then there are the variable expenses. These are like your seasonal outfits, changing every month, like groceries and gas. Did you know the average person's variable expenses can fluctuate up to 30% monthly? That's why it's so important to separate them. This way you can easily spot where you're overspending. It was a game changer for me when I realized I was spending more on dining out than on groceries. Chapter 6. Track irregular expenses. Irregular expenses can sneak up on you like those unexpected car repairs. They're not monthly, but they can throw off your budget if you're not prepared. I've learned to keep track of these like annual insurance premiums or holiday gifts. An interesting fact: Americans spend over $1,000 on average during the holiday season. So now I set aside a little money each month for these expenses. It's a relief not to be caught off guard. Chapter 7. Compare income to expenses. This step is like weighing yourself after a holiday feast. It can be a reality check. I line up my income against my expenses to see if I'm living within my means. It's surprising to learn that nearly 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. This comparison helped me identify if I was overspending and where I needed to cut back. It's essential to ensure your expenses don't exceed your income, and if they do, it's time to adjust. Chapter 8. Set spending limits. Setting spending limits is like putting a speed limit on your finances. It keeps you from going overboard. Based on my income and goals, I allocate specific amounts for different expense categories. For example, the 50-30-20 rule suggests spending 50% on needs, 30% on wants, and 20% on savings or debt repayment. I found this approach really helpful. It's about finding a balance that works for you and sticking to it. Chapter 9. Plan for savings. I always thought of savings like a safety net at the circus. It's there to catch you when you fall. Planning for savings is vital. I aim to save at least 10-20% of my income. Did you know that the average savings rate in the US is just under 8%? I try to beat that average. It's about prioritizing your future needs over present wants. Even if it's just a small amount, regular saving is key. Remember, it's not about how much you earn, but how much you save. Chapter 10. Choose a budgeting method. Choosing the right budgeting method is like finding the right pair of shoes. It needs to fit your lifestyle. There are many methods, but I found the 50-30-20 rule really practical. It's simple. 50% of your income goes to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings or debt repayment. But it's not one size fits all. There's also zero-based budgeting, where every dollar is assigned a job. It's about finding what works for you and sticking to it. Chapter 11. Use budgeting tools. Using budgeting tools is like having a GPS for your finances. It helps you stay on track. There are so many apps and software out there. Did you know that according to a recent survey, people who use budgeting apps tend to save 10% more of their income? I use these tools to track my spending and savings goals. They make managing my finances easier and less time-consuming. Plus, seeing your progress can be really motivating. Chapter 12. Review and adjust regularly. Last but not least, reviewing and adjusting your budget regularly is crucial. It's like a health checkup for your finances. I do this monthly. It's amazing how small changes can have big impacts over time. For instance, cutting back on eating out can save you hundreds, if not thousands, per year. Life changes, and so should your budget. Maybe you get a raise or pay off a debt. Your budget needs to reflect these changes. Regular reviews keep you on track to meet your financial goals.